Movies and sound stages, toys and curls. You are now tuned in to the Disney Holic Show.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Holic Show. That's Jenn.
And that's Mike TV.
Today we're looking back at the history of the great movie ride and the unique props displayed in the attractions queue. Then we play a game all about public opinions on Disney parks. Jenn, girl, it is your birthday today when this episode airs, and you got a fat cat swinger intro. What do you think?
I mean, that's all a girl could ask for, right? Girl, boy, whatever you are, that's all we ever should ask for on a birthday is a fat cat swinger intro. No, I never thought that I would become this person that isn't super excited about my birthday, but like,
oh my God, welcome to the group.
I just like, first of all, for all of you listeners out there, Mike always says this, and then he accidentally has something amazing happen on his birthday, like a trip to Disney World or Disneyland or something crazy cool.
You know what it is? I don't like
or cruise.
The public. Like I like a little, just like a couple friends little thing. That's what it is, I think.
Yeah, that's how I am now too. However, high majority of my friends have moved extremely far away. So like my close friends, that's like kind of how I jam now. Is like I just want like 5 or 6 of my closest people to get together, right? And nobody's here right now. Not nobody, but hardly anybody is here. So I don't know. I'm just kind of like, all right, we'll see how it goes. It's a little sad now that it's getting this close because we are recording the night before my birthday. So I'm like,
birthday eve. Well, as a Disney holic, what would be your Disney wish on your birthday? Disney related.
Wish.
And it's just like one of their favorite words. It's a cruise ship. It's a movie. What would your birthday
I've been
Disney
in the cruise ship brain lately because I have a lot of free time, and I just realized I have a like $400 flight credit that I need to use by the end of the year. So I'm like, However, I also have no job or money, so there's that. But this is my Disney wish, right? So
yes,
I would say right now, if I could do anything Disney besides go to Tokyo, I would go on a Disney cruise.
Ooh, let's do that horn. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You're getting familiar with the cruise fandom at Disney. Do you know the ships' names, and which ship would you want to go to or on?
I would. Yeah, I don't really know much about them other than the one that we went on. I don't really know the difference between all the other ones. So I would like to go on the Disney Treasure. When does that start?
Ooh, very soon, I think. Very soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there's already ships going to the new island of Lighthouse Point, something key, I forgot. And the Treasure is going to be the one that goes like next and starts going to it very soon.
Okay. So that would be my Disney wish, to get a birthday gift of the Disney Treasure for whenever.
Got the Haunted Mansion bar on it.
Yeah,
that would be perfect.
It just looks like the right aesthetic. Like it looks really cool, and like those dark, beautiful colors, like that kind of like stylization looks really, really cool. Yeah, I never thought I would say I would be wanting a cruise for my birthday, but here we are.
And you know what? It really is a good thing to do when you don't have a job. Because
that's exactly why I'm thinking. I'm like, oh man, I don't have to think about anything. I could just go sit on a boat somewhere. It's all taken care of, and like,
just roll around.
It is quite nice.
Live your best Wally life, and then you also don't have to worry about like time off and being disconnected.
Exactly.
You just do
or having to worry about like getting on Wi-Fi every now and then because I'm paranoid. It's just like, no, I literally have nothing or anybody giving a shit what I'm doing right now.
Let's do it. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
So I thought, in honor of your birthday, we keep today's episode just all about fun and games. And so not only do we have one, but we have 2 games to play today.
Awesome.
And we're going to do the history of the Great Movie Ride according to Mike TV. So we'll explain what that is to our
Oh,
listeners. And then we have
yes.
another
So,
fun game all about
oof.
Jen Diz's opinion on something versus the Disney fandom opinion on something. Ooh. So
See how
yeah,
closely these align.
Great Movie Ride. The reason why I was like, oh, let's do a deep dive, not even a deep dive, let's do a fun game on the Great Movie Ride, is there was an Instagram post from Disney and D23, like all their handles, that had the trailer
Mhm.
for the new Alien Romulus movie that's coming out. It's a sequel to Alien, and it's produced by Ridley Scott. So you got some of the original gang back there. And they gave it to a director. He directed Don't Breathe, which is a really good horror movie. I don't know if people saw it, kind of went under the radar a couple years ago. But he's really good at suspense and thriller. So it looks like it's going back to like horror and scary, which is exciting. But the comments are always funny when Disney posts something from 20th Century, which is now their studio. So it's like, what the heck? Why is this in my
Oh,
feed? Oh, trigger warning because it's like scary. And they're like,
right.
Alien, this is not Disney,
Oh,
blah, blah, blah.
cute.
And I just think it's hilarious because, we follow the acquisitions of these companies and we know that we feel the same way as it's happening. We're like, this is weird. Like all the
Right.
Avatar stuff
Right.
that was at the expo. Um, so, anyways, I had commented to passive aggressively let people know that this is not the first time Disney and Alien had a thing together. And so I
That's
commented, I
right.
was like, actually, one of my favorite parts of the extinct Great Movie Ride was the alien scene, which really freaked me out. And then a lot of people jumped onto the comment. I was like, okay, there's our Disney people. They know what I'm talking about.
Ah,
And yeah, they had Alien in the Great Movie Ride. And so that made me think, oh, let's
sometimes
talk
all
more
you
about
need
it.
is a little Disney tie-in, right?
Yeah, just tied in. There's always a place, 2 degrees of Disney. So we'll
Yeah.
do a history of the Great Movie Ride. I'm gonna talk about all the props that were ever on display in the queue. So it was almost like a museum walking through there,
Cute. Okay.
which it's interesting because the ride changed to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but they didn't add the props to Hollywood Studios, but they actually copied the old ride over in Disneyland,
Yeah.
right? It's hard for me even to spit out.
I never thought about that, but you're totally right. That
Yeah,
is very weird.
they took the movie props concept, put it in Disneyland. But yeah, so Great Movie Ride used to have all kinds of props, and I was looking through them, and I was like, what? So now I was having the same reaction as these people on Instagram because I don't remember a lot of these. And I think we just would fly through
Oh
to get
my
onto
God.
the
I was gonna
ride,
say I
right?
can't remember the last time I've had to wait in a line in the queue area.
Right.
So this
Right.
being according to Mike TV is gonna be very difficult.
And it was always rotating, so it makes it even harder. Um,
Oh my God.
so explain to our listeners and viewers what this game is.
Yes, so Mike TV loves a good fib, a folly, a prank, and the fibs are in hot demand when we get to a according to Mike TV series. So we are here at the history of the Great Movie Ride, where he will be telling us history of the Great Movie Ride and adding his own little fibs throughout. So please feel free to play along as you're listening and yell out fib every time you think he is just full of it.
Fibbing, fibbing, fibbing. All right, so before we get into the lies, I thought we should do just a quick actual real rundown of Great Movie Ride because a lot of our Disneyholics are Disneylanders and may not
True.
have even gone on the ride, and now it's gone. Too late. The window
Nothing
has
can
closed.
stop us now.
All right, 1980s. They started developing uh, a Hollywood themed ride for Epcot. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. So this ride was originally slated for Epcot. It was going to be all about making movies. It was supposed to be like behind the
Do they
scenes of
not
things.
have MGM in plan yet?
They did
Maybe?
not. No.
And they're like,
Yeah.
forget it. Let's just make an entire park about this. Ha.
So skip to 85. They decided, oh, that other movie studio company is now building a park here in Orlando, Universal. And so Michael Eisner said, we got to do the same thing. So then they opened Disney MGM Studios with its centerpiece being the Great Movie Ride, which is modeled after Grauman's Chinese Theater in Hollywood.
Competition is real.
Competition. Look at that. 1989 is when it officially opened, both the park and the ride. And guests would board trams. They are pretty much similar to the runaway railways, except were they connected? They weren't trackless, I don't think. That wasn't a thing yet.
No,
Right? Yeah.
the wait, what part are you talking about?
Like the
From Great
vehicles.
Movie Ride?
Yeah, they're just like these big old vehicles.
Yeah, they're like really wide though. Oh no, maybe they were. I'm thinking of Horizons and
Energy,
stuff like
right?
that.
Energy pavilion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's yeah, you might be right. It might be exactly the same width. They were wide, but not like too huge. They
Yeah.
might just be, yeah.
And there was a person sitting in front, not driving it, but kind of pretending to drive it, but they were also doing spiels, an actual live person,
Yes.
like Jungle Cruise, I suppose. So yeah, that was like the ride experience. It had tons of animatronics, special effects. The person that was sitting on the car with you would actually be an actor too, and then there was like twists and turns. But it always had movies that were non-Disney because it was part of the MGM partnership. So they had Wizard of Oz, The Wicked Witch and the Munchkins, Yellow Brick Road, Casablanca, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Alien, which we just talked about. So
Pre-Lucas acquisition.
pre-Lucas acquisition, there you go. Some
Yeah.
changes were made throughout the 90s and 2000s, nothing too big. It got a major rebranding way over in 2008 and 2014. So 2008 is when MGM was dropped from the theme park name, and they just called it Disney Hollywood Studios. They kept the ride, and then in 2014, the sponsor change was no longer MGM; it was Turner Classic Movies. I do remember this change, right? TCM is it's a TV channel that you can buy in cable, and so they updated the narration and changed some of the pre-show films, but the ride was pretty much the same. And then 2017 is when the curtains closed, and they started preparing for construction of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
And can we pause for just a second? This is like
Yeah.
tripping me out ever since you said it. I was thinking, so you said the ride vehicles were similar size as Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railway. And then as soon as we said it out loud, I'm like, oh yeah, duh. They probably repurposed the vehicles, but they didn't, right? Because those
No.
were those trackless? First of all, were they driven? Like what were they? And then
I kind of
also
picture it now.
they like had to gut the entire building, right? And rebuild. Like, I don't think it's the same layout as I don't know.
Yeah,
Now I'm
I
like
don't.
super curious on that.
Right. I feel like
Why
they
did they
gutted
use the
it.
same type of cars? It's super weird.
Like they couldn't have gone that far just to do a tribute, right? That's weird.
Right. I don't think
So
so.
yeah, I don't know, but it pretty much is. Yeah, the same type of cars. I think they were connected. I have no idea how they were moved or driven.
That's so
Yeah.
funny. Okay, that was a weird pause. We'll figure that one out later. Anyway.
Good questions. All right, so we are going to play the actual game.
All right. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so difficult.
I need
Get
to
ready
give
for the
you
fibs to come flying.
a good sound here. We're gonna do this one.
That was a good one. That sounded very cinematic, as if we needed to get this movie adventure ride started.
Here we go. So imagine you are entering the building
Okay.
and you're going into the facade of Grauman's Chinese Theater so that you can ride the Great Movie Ride, which by the way, I always want to say the Great Big Movie Ride. Always.
The Great Big Movie Ride.
I always have to stop myself from adding the word big. And so we're going to go through the queue because they had all these really, really interesting, impressive historical props.
Okay.
And I'm just going to list them out. And then you tell me when you think something is fishy or a fib, or you can go back and be like, wait, I was thinking about that one. So we're going to start with pajamas worn by Linda Blair in The Exorcist?
Ooh, first of all, I'm definitely calling fib on that one because Universal owns that. No, Warner Brothers owns that. I'm gonna call fib on that one. Okay. But that would
Uh,
be super cool. I'm gonna
it
hope that
w-
it actually was.
it is weird, right?
It'd be so
Um,
weird to see in Disneyland. I remember being on the Warner Brothers tour recently with Joy. Shout out to Joy. And we got to see like a lot of the props from the original film, like the crucifix and all sorts of weird, creepy stuff was
mm,
there.
oh, that would creep me out. Yeah, the Exorcist franchise has gone through so many hands. Like Bloomhouse just bought it
Oh, that's
for
right.
tons of
Ew.
money, and they're like,
So
"Why do
maybe
we do that?"
MGM owned them at some point.
Hmm.
I'm
All
still
right.
gonna say no.
Okay.
Did it have the vomit on it? That's pushing it too far.
I don't see a picture of it. I'm just reading a
Oh,
list.
okay. Okay.
Do you want answers
Ooh.
in real time or like toward the end?
Can you remember them for the end?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll save it for the end.
Okay.
We'll let people sit and wonder the whole time.
Ooh, pajamas worn by Linda Blair in The Exorcist. That's like so very scary to me. Freddy Krueger's sweater from A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge.
That's cool. I'm gonna stick with that one again because I want it to be there, but because it doesn't seem as like he seems less believable than The Exorcist.
Oh.
So it's a more like kitschy thing. I'll say we'll keep that in there.
Okay, so you're saying it was on display. It was on display.
Sure.
Okay. The
I really have
parrot,
no idea of either of those so far. So
the parrot umbrella, parrot like the bird from Mary Poppins. And then I'll keep going because there's a bunch of Mary Poppins. Mary's carousel horse, Bert's
okay.
wicker hat, Uncle Albert's coat.
Okay.
Yeah. Or were they all there, you think?
Um I I'm gonna say no to Bert's wicker hat because I don't know that that was a wicker hat.
Oh,
So I think that you may have said that incorrectly.
from the with the red and white striped Jolly
Yeah.
Holiday, Jolly Holiday.
They call them straw hats, right? Which I think is also wicker, but I don't know. It just sounded weird. So I'm going to say that one no.
No to Bert's wicker hat.
I bet
All
you it's
right.
no Mary Poppins, but I'm just going to stick with the one. It
All
seems
right, we
too
got
obvious that
more.
it would be there.
We got more from that era. We got costumes from Singing in the Rain, just costumes.
Okay. I believe that one.
Costumes also worn by the family from the Swiss Family Robinson.
Wait, I'm going to go back and say no to Sing in the Rain. That was another thing I saw in the Warner Brothers lot.
Oh,
Say no to that one.
darn, that WB lot tour
Hey, it's paying
prepared
off now,
you
huh?
for this game. Yep. Costumes worn by the family from the Swiss Family Robinson. A Nazi
Okay.
flag from The Sound of Music.
Absolutely not. That did not happen.
Do you know what scene though we're talking about? Like where all the Nazi flags come down in
Yeah,
the
it was
music. Yeah.
like
It still bothers me every time I see it, even though it's
I
not supposed to
swear
be in support of it. It's just part of the
yeah,
story.
somebody had mentioned that scene and I'm like, that didn't happen. And then it's like the second half of the movie, I guess I never seen. I think like Sound of Music, maybe I watched when I was too young to know even what that was. And then as an adult or, even a kid that would know what that was, like I had never seen it again full length. I just had only seen like, well, it's on TV or something random. I don't know.
It gets dark after Edelweiss, after that song is sung and they escape the mansion. I think most of us as kids remember the
Yeah.
mansion, like all the fun kid stuff that they did
Right.
with the colonel or whatever.
Right.
But yeah,
And then
after
my
they
parents turned
escape,
it off. They're like, yeah, no.
yep, it goes like full on World War II. And I had watched the live musical at West End, so in London, they're Broadway. And for that scene, like the flags dropped in the theater, like they were all there, and you're like in this Nazi Germany theater,
Yikes.
and it made me very uncomfortable.
I
So
went literally to Austria where The Sound of Music was filmed and like looked at how I'm like, I could totally see this here. It makes so much sense. And that's before I found out about that scene too. So like I have all this exposure to it without realizing that even happened.
yeah, yeah, without
So
like
weird.
context of what's good and bad and why it's still included.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, All right. And then a dress worn by Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music.
We'll keep that in there. Sure.
All right. Because my memory is not as good as I said it was earlier, let's pause here in the history of props and
Okay.
let's go and see what were lies. Okay. So you had said the pajamas worn by Linda Blair in The Exorcist was a fib,
Bib.
and you were correct.
Yeah, that's
It was a
right.
lie. Yeah. Uh, the reason why I made that one up was because the Freddy Krueger sweater was there. It was real. And I was
Nice.
shocked.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, what? So I was like, okay, let me sneak another
I don't know
really
why that
weird.
one feels so much like softer than the Linda Blair one. It just like maybe because he's just this like weird evil guy versus like the devil himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Probably
too
less
much.
controversy too around the movies that there were.
Right, right.
Um, yeah, but that's still scary. Like kids who went to the park, either that you knew what that was or didn't. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, kids are having nightmares about Freddy, and
Yeah,
then he's just up there in
I got
the
that
ride.
sweater. It is a very iconic sweater
Yes.
design. Yeah.
Yes, very much.
All right. So you had said Bert's wicker hat was not on display, but it was. It was on
Darn.
display along with Uncle Albert's coat and the carousel horse. But the parrot umbrella,
But
nope,
not the umbrella,
was
huh?
not there. Yeah.
They
That's
had
the one
that
thing I
somewhere
think would
else,
have been there. Like that's very iconic
right?
too. But I think you could buy it now in some of the stores. I've seen it. Some
They
version
make
of it.
them.
Yeah. Let's see what else was fake. Okay, you clocked the Nazi flag. Yes,
Yeah, I was like,
that
nope.
that was not in the queue, and neither were the costumes worn by the family from Swiss Family Robinson. Right?
Oh, darn.
It's like, come on, Disney, plug your own movies too while you're doing
Yeah.
that.
Maybe
Uh,
they weren't allowed to. Maybe
maybe.
MGM's like, you got enough,
Yep, got the whole
right?
park.
Yep.
All right, here we go. We're going to continue walking through the queue. We're going to look around and we're going to see even more props on display at the great movie ride, the great big
Okay.
movie ride. All right, so now I'm seeing the Holy Grail chalice from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I'm also seeing the Indiana Jones machete from the Temple of Doom. I'm also seeing monkey heads from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And we're seeing the Ark of the Covenant from Raiders of the Lost Ark. All of
Okay.
that.
I think only the Ark of the Covenant out of all of those was there.
Ooh, the correct answer is all of those were there except for the chalice,
Oh, okay.
which
The
was from
chalice felt
the
way later to me, even though I
newer.
think it came out in like 91
Yeah,
or 89 or
it was
something
the
like that.
third
But
part three with Sean Connery.
hmm
But yeah, they had the machete, they had the monkey heads,
yeah,
and
that's
then
pretty
yeah, they had
weird.
the arc. I guess they were trying to compete with Universal at that time. I'm trying to put my Michael Eisner hat on, and he wanted things to be adult around that time. They added extraterrestrial to Magic
That's
Kingdom.
right. When did
A weird time.
MGM open again?
89, I think.
89. Okay. Because he did open California Adventure also. He's like really trying to push the adult page,
Yeah,
which
Superstar
I
now.
appreciate.
True, true. It's like
I
a hit
like
or miss,
Michael
right?
Eisner every like a little more every time I talk about him. Like I find out things about him like why did everybody hate on him for this? This is exactly what we want.
Like he was trying to do something, you
He was
know?
trying. He may
Yeah.
not have executed perfectly, but he was trying.
I do forever regret not having gone to Disney World and riding extraterrestrial.
Oh yeah, that's a core memory for sure.
Encounter. Yeah. And another weird, that's one that goes in
Oh,
history
I wish
where
they'd
like,
come
did
out
you
with that
know that
again.
existed? Like you tell people and you're like, what?
Yeah, it's like one of those ones that people don't believe you.
Uh, all right. So we're going to keep walking in the queue. Now we see the shirt, tie, and sunglasses worn by Tom Cruise from Risky Business. We also see Iceman's uniform from Top Gun, worn by Val Kilmer. And then we also see Axel Foley, aka Eddie Murphy's jacket from Beverly Hills Cop 2. I'll give you a little pause there.
I'm gonna say no to risky business. Yes to the rest of them.
Ah, you are correct.
I
Yeah, you are correct.
don't
Um,
know why. I just felt
Top
like
Gun is
no.
another one where we grew up in the East Bay where there was Paramount's Great America. So at one point in time, Paramount owned Great America, and all the rides changed to movies. And we had the
Yep.
Top Gun ride. So I was definitely surprised to see
That's
that there was
funny.
Top Gun representation here.
Okay, hold on. This is another episode idea we need to do in the future is like theme parks moving to IP. We should just like look
Oh
at other
yeah.
theme parks that have done the same thing, right? Because everybody hates on Disney for it. However,
Yeah. Oh, I love that topic. I have so much to say, especially when it comes to Six Flags, because they really, really,
okay.
really stretch the theming
And where they like
IP.
push the whole zoo mixed with theme park thing too is also so weird.
Oh yeah,
To
that
look
is
at that
weird.
too. Yeah.
Marine World,
Marine
Marine
World,
World,
Africa,
Africa,
USA.
USA. All right. So yes, Tom Cruise's outfit was not on display. Still an iconic scene. All right,
Yes.
we're gonna walk through. We're turning the corner in the queue, and now we see costumes worn by the Addams family from Addams Family Values. We see the space
Cute.
suit worn by Ridley from the film Alien. We see
Ooh.
dresses from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, worn by Christina Applegate
Stop.
and cast. We see
I'm gonna
the
say no to that one. Fib. Fib on that. But
I'll
carry
finish
on.
this round. Yeah. We see the title object from Cocoon, the egg, and
Wait, the egg?
the egg,
No, fib. But that's very cool.
and then the model Nautilus submarine and dive suit from Disney's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Okay, so we had a whole
Oh,
bunch right there.
I'm gonna say fib to that one too. So no cocoon, no babysitter's dead, and or Nautilus.
Nautilus. All right, here we go. So the Nautilus was there and the dive
Oh,
suit.
so they let Disney sneak in.
They
Okay,
let
okay.
Disney sneak it make because it's a class is another classic.
Right.
Um, the egg from Cocoon was there.
Stop.
In fact, I just copy pasted how it was worded because it says the title object from Cocoon. So I was like, wait, okay. But yeah, the Cocoon, the egg in the
Wait, so
pool.
did you watch that movie like 1,000
I
times when you were
love
young?
that movie as a kid. Yeah.
I saw Cocoon and Batteries Not Included like 500 times each. I don't know
They're
both of
like the
those.
same movie in my mind. I think Jessica Tandy is in both, maybe. Is that why? Yeah.
I think they had a few of the same actors, like all those like cute little
Yeah.
older actors at the time, you know? Oh
Oh
my
my gosh,
gosh.
batteries not included. I think Cocoon is ripe for a remake. As much as I make fun of like reboots, I would rewatch another
Please.
version
And
of
then
it.
I realized like I was reading the synopsis of it recently, and I'm like, this is like I think they were making like a funny movie around the cult Heaven's Gate.
Oh my gosh, I never thought of it in that way, but I could
It's
see
so
that.
the
Yeah.
same. It's like,
Like
but
if you
adding,
just
I mean,
believe your life will
yeah,
get
yeah.
extended, you'll go somewhere better.
Shoot.
Weird. There was also a Cocoon 2. I don't remember it completely.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
know that one.
I think it was Cocoon Return. It had a word. It wasn't number
Was
two.
there
I forgot
batteries
what.
still not
They're
included?
still not included. All
I
right,
still know
so
what you
the
did last summer. Remember that?
oh, they got fun with those weird sequels back in the day.
Yeah,
Okay, so the submarine was there, the cocoon egg was there. That's
crazy.
cool. I wish I could see it. I couldn't find any pictures. I wish if anyone
Oh
has a
my
picture of it,
gosh.
if you're posing next to it, even better. The dresses from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead were not included.
Okay.
Batteries not
I only
included.
said no to that one because I don't think it would be like worthy.
Like
Because
iconic
they just
enough.
wore
Yeah.
regular clothes, right? Like they weren't like any kind of cool, crazy costuming. It was just kind of like regular people dresses.
Yeah, well, they're very 90s. I think the older it gets, the funnier
Yeah,
the
now it'd be
wardrobe gets.
funny.
Yeah.
Back then, not so much. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I got that at Ross. What of it?
But I love this movie so much. I had to sneak it in. I also love Christina Applegate, and she's not doing well health-wise, and it makes me really
Oh,
sad.
really? I didn't
Yeah.
know
She
that.
has
Oh,
I think MS. And so
shoot.
yeah, yeah. So heart goes
Oh,
out to Christina Applegate. Had like several eras between Married with Children and then her own like sitcom and then her movie comedies. And then she had another comeuppance lately on Netflix, right? With
Dead
Dead
to
to
Me was
Me.
very
Yeah.
good, and I
Another good one.
loved The Sweetest Thing, or
Oh
that's is
yeah.
it The Sweetest Thing? That was a
Uh
great movie.
with
Yep.
Cammy D.
Yeah,
Who's the
that's
other
fun.
person? Yeah, that's a good movie. Takes place in San Francisco. Love that. And then, okay, so the other fib was the Addams Family costumes. They were not on display.
Aw, they were
Yeah.
not. Okay.
I could definitely see that being
I
there.
can see that too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to turn the corner again. We're still in the queue for the big movie ride. Ooh, and now we see Princess Leia's slave costume from Star Wars Return of the Jedi. We see a Dejarik board. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, from the Millennium Falcon from the original Star Wars. And then we also see next to that Starfleet costumes from Star Trek, the motion picture. A little sci-fi
Oh
vibe there.
boy, I'm gonna say fib to all the Star Wars stuff and leave the Star Trek in.
Oh, why? Why do you think that?
I just don't think they had, well, they had Raiders in there though. So they did have some kind of handshake with Lucas, obviously.
And I think I want to say Star Tours opened with MGM Studios.
Yeah, it did. Um, I don't know why, but I just don't feel it was in there. Maybe it's the specific things you said. Maybe the board wasn't. No, I'm gonna stick with it. I don't know. It doesn't feel right.
Doesn't feel right. So, you know what doesn't feel right to me was the Star Trek costumes, but they were there. It's weird. It reminds me of like the Vegas Hilton Star Trek experience or something.
I think
So
the
yeah.
shock value is working for my answers. It's like, why? Like, it would make more sense for them to have the Star Wars, so they probably didn't, and they had the Star Trek.
Yeah, so they definitely had Star Trek, which good for the Trekkies who got to ride that. I
Yeah.
guess it is pretty iconic too, like the whole TV show and stuff. The Dejarik, do you know how to say that? Like the game, the
No,
board.
is it the chessboard thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
No.
the chessboard from Star Wars from the Millennium Falcon was actually on display,
Okay.
but Leia's slave
No slave
costume
Leia.
was not. Shame, that's iconic. It should have been.
Risky.
Risky business. All right, so we have a couple more rounds. So we're gonna turn the corner. Ooh, it's real glamorous. I see wardrobe. I see a red dress and white gloves worn by Julia Roberts from Pretty Woman. I see Judge Doom's costume from Who Framed Robert
Robert Rabbit.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Knockoff.
I also see the door, wooden door that saved Rose in the Titanic, played
Oh,
by
oh
Kate
my God,
Winslet.
stop.
I also see dresses worn by Kate Winslet from Titanic, including the large iconic hat. And then I also see a production copy of the Titanic film script in a glass case. Wow, what a cool little
Ooh.
area of this queue. Glamorous.
Okay, I'm gonna say the door is definitely not there. And what was the second thing you said in this section?
There were dresses worn by Kate Winslet. There was a script of Titanic. There was also Judge Doom's costume from Roger Rabbit. And then there was the red dress and white gloves from Pretty Woman.
Okay, I'm gonna say no to Judge Doom and no to the door. Fib.
Ooh, you
Fib.
got one and then not one. So,
Ah.
so yeah, the door was not there. I wish it would
Okay.
have. I think it didn't become iconic until later when memes
Yeah,
started
like
becoming
the
popular.
internet
Yeah.
meme started up.
Like, why couldn't she fit Jack on that?
Somebody finally questioned it. Like, wait a
Yeah.
second.
So yeah, so the door was not there, but the dresses were there and the script, one of the copies of the script.
Very
Judge
cool.
Doom's costume from Roger Rabbit was in fact on
Oh, okay.
display. That's a creepy one.
It
Like the
is.
black trench coat, the hat, perhaps the glasses.
Especially flat. It looks like he's been through the dip.
Ooh. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Oh,
What was not there is costume from one of
steamroller.
my favorite movies, Pretty Woman. The red
Oh, it
dress
was
and
not
white
there?
gloves was not there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could totally picture that one being there.
Same. And that was a Disney movie. That
Very
was
Hollywood.
Touchstone and
Oh,
Hollywood, all the
interesting.
things. Yeah. They should have put it in there. Should have, would have, could have. All right. And we have one last round here of
One last
things on
gallery.
display at this gallery and props gallery. Okay. There's the airplane seat and window set props from Twilight Zone, the movie. Ingrid
That would be
Bergman's,
so cool. But
yeah,
fib.
that's a
Okay,
very
next.
scary scene. Ingrid Bergman's dress from the movie Gaslight, which was
I don't know who that
I
is.
have a little side note that I added here that I have to explain. I'll do it after. The wheelchair from Rear Window used by Christopher Reeve. Alex's bowler hat from A Clockwork Orange, played by Malcolm
What?
McDowell.
No.
and Sam's piano from Casablanca.
Okay. Okay.
There was a
Three
lot
things
going
of
on there.
this did not make it in. Fibs. Twilight Zone is not there. The wheelchair is not there. And whatever the one I just scoffed at. What was it?
The hat from Clockwork Orange.
The hat from Clockwork Orange. That one's like way too risky, I think, even more than Exorcist.
So you guessed the two fibs
Dang it, but I
in
got
that
one
round.
extra. Okay, wait.
Yeah. So which one was actually there of those three?
Wheelchair, clockwork, or
Twilight Zone airplane seat.
Twilight Zone. Oh man. Oh, Casablanca. Wait, did you say what's the wheelchair from?
Rear Window.
Rear. Wait a second. Christopher Reeves wasn't in the wheelchair by then. Or was he
there was
acting?
there was a remake. I think 80s,
Oh.
90s. It was after he was in the wheelchair and he played the guy in the wheelchair. That makes sense.
Shoot.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I'm gonna say that one then, I guess. Was there.
Was there. Okay. So airplane seat from Twilight Zone the movie was not there. That
Okay.
was a lie. Can you please explain the scene that we're thinking of?
Yes. I think of it every single time I get on a plane.
Yes.
And I usually sit right in the middle for some reason. I don't
By
know
the
why I usually
wing.
sit there by the wing. Yep. And I get excited. In fact, I just had this like really old Facebook memory pop up yesterday and said, I got the Twilight Zone seat. And it's a picture out the window of the wing just
And you
yesterday.
do like a window seat when you can have
I
one.
do like a window seat so I can lean against it and sleep. That's the only reason I ever want a window seat, not to look outside. I guess it's a nice perk, but I usually try to
Get
sleep on
an
flight.
extra wall.
Yeah. Um, so it's with Patrick somebody. Star Trek. What's his name? Patrick. What's his name?
Oh, you're right.
Am I saying it right? William Shatner.
William Shatner. William
It's him,
Shatner.
right?
Yeah, it is him. The
Yeah,
funny
William.
thing
I don't
is
know where Patrick came from.
there's two versions. There's the 80s version that was in Twilight Zone the movie, and then the Twilight Zone episode, which that
Oh,
movie
the
was based
episode.
on, had William Shatner. So the movie version that was in color had John Lithgow. So they're both like pretty iconic guys
Oh.
in this. In the
That one
airplane
doesn't
scene.
even scare me for some reason. The old black and white, old William Shatner Twilight Zone episode, classic, scared the crap out of me when I was a little kid. And it's basically they're on a flight and William Shatner like looks out the window and there's this little guy. I remember I would say he looked like an Eskimo. Like he
Yeah,
had like
he
some big
did.
fluffy thing around his head, like a hood or something. But I think he was supposed to be like an alien or something, right?
Yeah, I think
He had
however
some
they
like
did the
weird
costume
face.
design was just
Yeah, I
weird.
can't tell what they were trying to make it do, but
Yeah.
it was a creature of sorts. It was not
Yeah.
like a regular human. And it was just like chilling out on the wing, like no big deal. And he was just like crawling up. And then William Shatner's trying to get everyone's attention. Everybody thinks he's crazy. And then every time they look out, it's missing. It's gone. So it just makes him feel like he's losing his mind. And it's scary. And he's like taking apart the stuff in the wing. I almost didn't say the best part of it. Like
Yeah.
the guy was like destroying the pieces of the wing, like while he was like trying to save everybody's lives by letting them see that this is happening.
They're like,
Oh my
there's
God, it was
something
like a,
on the wing taking it apart. And then he like pulled out
yeah,
a
like,
gun at some point, and so he definitely looked like the crazy person. But
yeah,
that's like one of my worst fears too, is when, well, I set it up for myself because I play games like where I make stuff up. But my worst fear is there is something there and nobody believes me.
Boy Who Cried Wolf.
Boy,
Yeah,
that is
yep.
so terrifying.
And
Like
that
you
was
would feel
back when
so
you could take
alone,
guns on flights, evidently.
right? And I
So,
think you could smoke cigarettes too.
yeah, oh God.
Yeah. Oh, and there was some creepy little girl too that was just adding to the eeriness. I think she sat next to him or behind him or something. But anyways, if you guys have not seen that movie or that episode of Twilight Zone, you should watch it. It's still to this day stands as like a very
Right.
chilling
Super
like
good.
situation to be in. But yeah, so that was not in the Great Movie Ride queue. Neither
Okay.
was the wheelchair from Rear Window.
Ah,
Yep. But you know
wait,
what
you said,
was? Uh,
oh, well, what else did I say no to? No, Clockwork Orange?
Clockwork Orange, the hat
Really?
was
I
actually
guess
in
if
there.
you
Yeah.
don't know the movie, I guess it doesn't hurt anybody, but like Wow. I would
Yeah,
have been
it's a
like,
sick
dang, if
movie.
I saw that in there.
Yep. And then yeah, the piano from Casablanca was there.
Yeah, do not watch Clockwork Orange with your children. Anyone who's listening,
It'd be
FYI.
deeply disturbing. Yeah. It's a book, and then Stanley Kubrick did the movie. And most of Stanley Kubrick things stick with you, like The Shining, Eyes Wide Shut. Like
Yeah,
they get into your head. But yeah, they
very true.
had the hat. They had the hat.
That's crazy.
And that is the
Ah,
end of this uh, tour of the defunct, made up, sometimes prop queue of the Great Movie Ride.
according to Mike TV.
Dun,
That
dun.
was great. Earlier, I didn't call you up, but you did say the big movie ride one other time.
Oh, I did. Shoot. It just flows out of my mouth better,
That
off my tongue.
was hilarious. That was awesome. I think I got at least 50%.
It was hard, I would say. It was hard because it wasn't all Disney stuff, so it was like really hard to figure out.
Right. And then
Yeah.
I wanted to say no to any Disney really bad because of that. So that just set me up for failure. Anyway, it's all good. Oh, oh my gosh. What do we have
Another
going
fun
on here?
topic that I think we should talk about on your birthday is how much we love and celebrate our Patreon members of the Disney Holic Show.
Yes, it's a day for celebrating. So why not celebrate our Patreon members? Of course. Thank you all so much for all of your support of the show from I don't even remember when we first launched it. It wasn't immediately, but almost at the beginning of this show. And some of you have stuck through the entire time. You guys are the best. We really do appreciate it. It really makes us feel warm and fuzzy. And we are coming up on our 200th episode. We are
Woo.
at 193 today. So it'll be episode 193. So our 200th is right around the corner. Getting very excited about it. And when we were putting together some ideas for our Patreon takeover wrap up party, we're like, let's just save it and do something better for the 200th episode. And we also need a little more time and space because we have a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to wrap those together and have something going on for our Patreon members for the 200. So stay tuned for some more details coming on that. And yeah, we like to give all of you a quick shout out as well and say thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah, let's do a roll call. All right, so shout out to Andrew and Cherie,
Christina and Courtney,
Don and Emma,
Jessica and Jillian,
Joy and Kayla,
Kate, Kylie. I almost pronounced my own friend's name wrong. Kylie and Laura,
can't forget about Lisa and also Mike,
Ned and Nick.
and Pamela and our friends over at Skywalking Through Neverland.
Yes, thank you all
Yay.
so much. Snaps and claps. Thank you guys for all the love and support. You guys are the best. See, this is the best birthday ever. What else does a girl
Dun-dun-dun.
need?
There you go. All right, so I want to know a little bit more about Jen Diz's opinions on just some
Oh, I've
random
got
Disney
plenty.
topics. Most of them I think are going to be Disneyland related, so right up your alley, up your main
All right.
street. And the way this game works is pretty simple. I'm going to ask you a question or a prompt, and then I want to hear what your thought about it is. And then
Okay.
I'm going to share with all of us what other Disney fans think of that same question or prompt. And then you get to play the game of keep or change,
Keep or change.
which means you can keep your original opinion
My own
or
opinion.
you could change and modify it after what you heard.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
Ooh,
you're thinking some of these opinions may sway my opinion.
perhaps,
Okay,
perhaps.
we'll
And
have
some
to
of them
see
I might
here.
not even know the opinion, yours. So we'll learn together.
Okay.
All right, so let's start out
Oh
with
no. Gotta be careful here.
um and these are very light. These are very light and fun. Who do you wish had more merchandise at the parks?
Who do I wish? Like what? Like what do you mean by that?
Who? So the person who posted this question on Reddit, they were looking specifically, I believe, for characters.
Oh, so like they wish like Goofy had more merch or somebody like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say Man, Clarabelle Cow.
Oh, okay. I don't think I see any
Any, and she's hot
merch,
right now.
right? Yeah, she's all over TikTok and Instagram doing dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
They always bring her out more often. Okay, so Clarabelle the cow.
Yes.
Well, here's what other people thought. The number
Okay.
one answer was Hercules.
Oh, meh.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. Um,
Also, don't see any merchandise for that though. So,
True.
cheers. Okay.
Another top answer was Lion King.
Uh, okay. I feel like I see plenty of Lion King merch though.
Right. At least like the Simba stuff. That one has always been weird to me when it came to attractions because it doesn't have a ride.
Yes.
It just has a bunch of shows,
It needs more of something, but not merchandise.
not merchandise. Yeah. Wally was up here on the list.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I could do more, but I think there's enough. Like I have enough stuff that makes me happy that I bought from Disney
Same. Yeah.
of Wally. But yeah, more is fine. Um, Robin Hood.
Oh, yeah, for
And they
sure.
specifically said, I could not find a single piece of Robin Hood merch at MK when I was there 2 months ago. And they posted
Wow.
this 9 days ago. This is recent. And then they said, but I got tons of compliments on my Robin Hood purse that I was carrying. So they were trying to prove a point that
Like,
it
see,
could
the
sell well.
people want it.
Yeah, the people want it. So Robin Hood. Another answer that I thought was fun is Cy and Am, the two cats from Lady and the Tramp, the Siamese
Ooh, that's like
cats.
canceled though. We can't.
Ooh, whoops, we are Siam.
That's not gonna happen.
It's out there with like Oriental food, which you can't
Yeah,
say anymore
yeah.
either.
That's not gonna happen. However, lots of people do have cats that look just like them. So that could be very fun merchandise for those people, but I don't think that's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
I wonder maybe if you mix it in, like I wonder if those two cats are they show up on like the Disney Cats brand blankets that have all of them,
Right.
Marie and all
Ooh, are
those.
they on that? I don't know,
Sneak them
actually.
in. Space Mountain. That was interesting. They specifically said all the merch has been replaced with Tron. So I guess they're talking about Magic Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I don't
I
know much about
think
that.
uh I mean, I love any attraction merchandise would be very cool, but I think we
But
have some, which
yeah,
is
there's
more
enough
than
Space
most.
Mountain. I have a
Yeah.
Christmas ornament, and you know what? The question was who, not what. So you know that
Right?
that
Space
answer
Mountain,
shouldn't
I
even
know who.
count. And then yeah, I guess I'll stop there because the rest are answering the
Alex
questions.
Trebek is rolling in his grave right now.
Yeah, all the rest of these answers are incorrect once it gets to the bottom of the list. It's like Tower of Terror,
That person should have also been
Carousel of
more
Progress.
direct. They should have been, which character would you like to see more merchandise for?
Ooh.
Who, what, when, where, how?
All right. So, would you like to
Who
keep
are
or
you?
change your answer? Your original answer was
Clarabelle the cow.
Pharaoh the
I am gonna keep it because I just think it'd
Oh.
be super cute. However, I am really in on the Robin Hood one. And
Yep.
also, after we did one of our armchair imagineering episodes where we created that Robin Hood um Fantasyland theater
Oh
attractions,
yeah.
we got quite a few people talking about that at the
There you
time. So I
go.
think the people do want it,
The people want
including
it,
myself.
and the furries. The furries
That's
love it.
right. That's
I
right.
would even do merch of just the excuse me, I had a feather in my throat. The rooster. It has a name, right?
Oh, he's so cute. Stop, narrator.
With a little guitar or
Yeah.
lute or whatever it is. I feel like, yeah, that could do it. I think they could bring him back to be the host of something, a ride or something.
Yeah, they could have him do the host of Mr. Lincoln or something. Just kidding.
It's cute. Sing along. All right. Next opinion. Is a Disney popcorn bucket a food item or a toy? So is it part of food and beverages or is it part of merchandise?
Oh man, this is one of the ones I don't even understand why I like buy into it. And I haven't really like I'm not a huge popcorn bucket one, but I buy them as toys. 100%. However, they are still created to hold popcorn and they don't even try to serve you
They
the
don't.
popcorn in them anymore.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
the only ones they still serve it on are the ones that are actually like a bucket, right?
Yeah, and would it even fit if you poured the whole bag? I don't know.
I don't know.
Some
I
of
have no
them are
idea.
like
Nor
real
do I want to
flat,
find out. It would make it a buttery mess. I don't
dirty.
want
Yeah.
it. But it's also like cheap, weird toy if it's gonna be a toy. Right? And they're
Yeah.
not cheap. Like those, I think the Jabba the Hutt one was like almost $40 for this
They're
freaking
pricey
popcorn bucket
and you
that they
gotta
could have
wait
just
in
made a toy
line.
of, and for some reason it wouldn't be as exciting. What have they done to me?
Yep. I
What
think
is
that's the
that?
kicker right there. Is if these things were just on display in Main Street Emporium, we would probably walk by it or think it's cute, point at it. I don't think we would line up to buy
Right?
it.
Like they've had, so I have three Star Wars ones. I have an AT-AT Walker, I have the Millennium Falcon, and I have a TIE Fighter. All three which are popcorn buckets, and I spent way too much money on. However, those have always been sold in Star Trader, like the actual toys of all of those things. You can
Yeah.
get like a lot of places, Target, like you can get them
Target.
all
Yeah.
over the place. Never once have I even been like, oh, I need one of those in my life. But the freaking popcorn bucket comes out, and I'm like, badass, give it to me right now. Like, what? We need to talk about this further. This needs to be a whole
Yeah.
nother thing. I'm gonna make a thing out of it because we need to go down that.
It's very
Because I can
interesting.
think of one that I would buy
Yeah.
as a toy, but only once. Now I'm curious. But anyways,
Wait,
carry
which
on.
one?
The Main Street Electrical Parade ones I would have bought as a
Okay,
toy
yeah,
for
that makes
sure.
sense. Yeah.
Those are
Um,
hecka cute.
so the fandom is also very I'm not gonna say divided. Most people say it is a toy, and
Okay.
they struggle with the same inner conflict that you said. Like,
So
why
other
are
people are willing to
yeah,
admit that I am just a fool for
they're
this.
like,
Like, what?
why do we care then? That's so much because it's a
Isn't it
pop.
so weird?
It's very weird, and that's Disney marketing at its finest because
It is. That is
I
some
also
psychology.
yeah, like what is it? What is it? They could do a whole
Maybe because it
study on
makes
it.
it feel Disneyland. Do you know what I mean?
It feels like
Like
it's part of the park
a
experience. Yeah,
park instead of a Star Wars toy,
toy.
right?
It's like a souvenir. Well, so is
Souvenir.
merchandise, but it's not a toy. It's not just a toy. It's a souvenir toy. The closest thing I could compare it to, and this was not on the conversation, but I just thought of it now, is McDonald's Happy Meal toys. I go nuts for them. I would never buy them one at a time
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Toys R Us or something. There's
Nor
something
would I
about
like
it.
want to keep it. Like if somebody
Yeah.
gave me one of those, I would just get rid of it.
You're
Like I
like,
don't,
oh,
but
thanks.
because it's, like cereal prizes too, right? They don't
Oh,
do them
yeah.
anymore,
That was
but when
so
they
fun.
did, jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's all marketing. The question that I really want answered that I don't know the answer to is it a food and beverage revenue? This is like my operations brain. Does the revenue for popcorn buckets go to the food and beverage team at Disneyland or the merchandise team? Because they're two
I
different
don't know,
ones.
but I would think so.
Oh, fascinating
I
stuff.
would think so. That'd be, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's hard or easy for them to divide those sales up, but I would think it'd
Right.
be food and beverage. Yeah.
Because like the popcorn is just the popcorn. People are lining up
Crazy.
for that
Like, sure,
stupid
take your
thing.
475 out of the $40
Yeah,
popcorn bucket
exactly.
price. You can have
Exactly.
it. Merchandise gets the rest.
All right, here's another prompt. Will any Disney trip ever be as special as those first few?
Absolutely.
Oh,
1,000,000,000,000,000%, which is not even possible. Just 100% is possible. But yes, that.
good. No, I think that's good. I agree. What we're seeing in the fandom is more or less the same. What's interesting is this came from a Reddit thread, and the person who posted it has only gone for 2 years. And everyone who
I
answered
actually
it were the Disneyholics.
I just saw somebody post like on social media somewhere today. Actually, I was like flipping through Facebook or something, and someone said, "Do you ever wish that you could replicate your first trip to Disneyland?" And I thought back, I'm like, no, because I wouldn't remember it, right? I was like less than a year old, and it didn't matter to me probably because I was a baby and I wasn't even like figuring
Yeah,
out what the hell I was doing there. So like to me, it's like, oh, I don't need to replicate that one. Can I replicate a few other really special moments? That would be really cool. So I guess it just all depends. Yeah, you're right.
you
Someone's
could
only
have
gone for a
special
couple years.
moments. Anytime. Yeah, so this person wrote, they said, "Hey, I came into Disneyland life late. In my late 20s, my wife and I made a trip, just the two of us, so they're already adults only. And I was hooked. But about 2 years later, so they're catching up to when they wrote this post, they're like, it's now my most favorite special trip. So they're confused at why it gets better. And then they're freaking out that what if it doesn't get better than this? So that's why they posted this question. They're like, if you've been more than a dozen times, is it going to get least special? Do you get new favorite trips later on? So that's the question they're asking. And
Oh,
there were a lot of great responses, similar to yours, about less about the number of visits, but more about the special moment in any
yeah.
visit,
It's so
regardless. Yeah.
interesting because it can be a multitude of things, like the company you have, the weather, the way the day went, how many other people went to Disneyland that day, any special interaction. Like I think of like some of those moments that I had like with the Disneyland band or the Dapper Dans, and like those are some of my favorite moments where I was not even with anybody else. The moment I was um a Rebel Spy, like
Oh yeah.
thanks again,
Yeah.
Kayla. Shout out. But like those special moments, they stick. And like those are some of my favorite Disney days, and they weren't even with anyone else. So just you never know what's going to be your favorite Disney day. So just keep going. And like, I
Yeah.
mean,
There's so many,
we've
and
all
it
had
keep
hard Disney days too. So
right where
like
you're like, oh,
it's
I'm never
regular
going back
life.
again tomorrow.
Oh, I don't know if I've had
Yeah, I don't
that,
think you've
but
gone that far. But there were some really cute examples here. Like there's someone who said they went like almost their whole life, and then the first time they went with their child, not a baby, they waited till the
mm-hmm.
baby grew up. They were like, that suddenly became a special moment that they didn't think could even be recreated. And
Oh,
they
that's
didn't
super
even need it
cute.
to be recreated, and they were just like, oh my God, it's so different now. This is now a special trip.
Can I
Uh
sidebar a story on that one too?
oh yeah.
So I don't have kids, nor have I ever really wanted kids, except for when I was like little. I think I just thought we were supposed to have kids at some point. So that's the only reason I ever wanted a child. But I was on Big Thunder Mountain. I may have told this story on here before. I was on Big Thunder Mountain, and there was a gentleman and his little son in front of me. And the little kid was just literally having the time of his life. Like you could tell he'd never been on it. He was just like screaming and so happy. And I was giggling. I think I was maybe by myself or with somebody. And I kept like making eye contact with the dad about like we're laughing together about the kid having fun. And at the end, he turned around. He's like, I never could imagine how amazing Disneyland could be, like redoing Disneyland through his eyes. And I
Yeah.
was like, and I had that like heartbeat of wanting a child from that moment. I was like, oh, and then I got over it. But
And then you have someone brand new, fresh slate to like tell all the things to,
yeah.
all the fun facts and secrets and
Mm-hmm.
history according to Mike TV, all these things.
Um, Christina, can we please take your baby if you're listening?
Let's do it.
Saying.
Can we borrow a baby for the day to
Yeah.
take on a,
We have
a
to turn
memorable
London into a Disney holiday
trip?
right away.
There was one more highlight from these responses that I thought was cool. So a lot of people love being part of the Disney College program out in Disney World. And so this person said their most special trip after decades of going to both Disney coasts, they said, was after they completed the college program, which meant they worked at Disney World also. And then they went back to Disneyland for the first time since completing that. They said is now their most special trip. Because I
Very
guess
cute.
you know so much more. And most people say it actually doesn't ruin the magic at all. So I think that yeah, there's just so many variables that go into a special
That
park trip.
that does matter. Like, people are always saying like, doesn't it get boring? Doesn't it get this? And it really depends on your personality type. Like I feel like to me, seeing behind the stage just makes things more exciting. Like I don't ever, it
Yeah.
doesn't ruin the magic for me. What ruins the magic for me is seeing people like hating their job and stuff. Like that's the only kind of
Right.
thing
Yeah.
that I feel it makes
Fights,
me feel like,
fist
oh,
fights at in Toontown ruins
yeah,
the
like
magic.
this sucks for other people. I always want to make people feel like they're having a good time. So when you see that kind of stuff, but then, any of the inner workings is like really fun to see. So just if that's not your cup of tea, then it might be, but
What about the order in which it happens? I definitely like to experience something first and then go behind the scenes.
Yes, same. It's like
right?
the spoiler thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
remember like you and I got on Harry Potter at Universal, and the ride mechanics were just so you could like you couldn't even imagine what it could be, so we had to look it up. We had to.
Right,
And
yep.
we were like, "What?" And
I
we just
remember we
made it
went on like
cooler.
3 times
Yeah.
and I kept sitting on the edge so that I could just stare at the ride vehicle next to us and see how it's even working. Like I was
Yeah.
so blown away by that. And then we went back to the hotel, looked it up.
We gotta
Yep.
look it up. We gotta know how it works. All right, next topic. What is your favorite spinner ride?
Oh,
Spinner.
definitely not Storm at Universal that almost made me vomit, which I
Oh,
could not
shit.
believe. I don't think I've ever had that. I usually am pretty good with that. Spinner ride. Um, why can't I even think of any? Do you mean
Like
like
Dumbo.
Mater's?
Pretty much like the Dumbo, but all the clones of
Flat
Dumbo.
rides?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Like Dumbo, and then there's
Okay.
just clones of Dumbo that are just different cars. But you can also choose Dumbo if that is also one of your
I
favorites.
mean, I don't really like the only other one I could think of is Aladdin. What else is there?
Okay, so the number one answer is Astro Orbiter.
Oh no,
But the
not for
one
me.
on top when it used to be on top at Disneyland or on top at Magic Kingdom.
That's a little better.
Yeah, the one
It's a
on the
little better.
ground at current Disneyland is why
It
is it even
doesn't hit.
there?
I don't know why.
Like
It
it's a
just
waste of
doesn't hit.
space. Yeah.
Yep. But
I do
Dumbo,
think
I'm gonna say Dumbo because it is very cute. Very
Dumbo,
classic.
such a classic. Like you feel
Yeah.
like you're in a Disney commercial when you're on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a nice blue sky day.
And you could
I
get
love
like
it.
really good photos of your friends behind you.
Yeah, yeah. You get to control it. For some kids, that's like the first ride you ever get to
Right. Yeah.
control. That's always fun. But yeah, Astro Orbiter was the number one answer here. This is a Reddit thread that I actually replied to, and I said
Okay.
very specifically, I said Dumbo at Disneyland
Yep.
for all the reasons why you and I just said it. There's something about the new double Dumbo at Magic
It
Kingdom that's
makes it
part
feel
of the
cheap.
circus. It feels cheap. Yeah, it feels like a clone in like China or something like that. Like it just could
I
be
don't
anywhere.
mind the pre-show hangout thing though. I think that's kind of
It's
cool, but
cool. Yeah.
it's so much more popular there than it is here. They need more space, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
They needed
kind of
two.
crazy.
And the whole time you just feel like you're flying in the circus, but at Disneyland it feels like you're flying at Disneyland in Fantasyland. Like
Yeah,
you're in it.
yeah.
You could see everything. But yeah, Astro Orbiter, number one. I do think I would say maybe that's my number two because I always forget and I like to bring people on it that it's very scary. The one that's up high at Magic Kingdom and it like
Excuse me. Yes.
tilts toward the middle like it's gonna push you out. I'm always
Yeah, and the
surprised.
the sides are actually quite low.
Yeah.
Like you look like you're sitting in there like kind of buried in it, but you're
Yeah.
really not. It's like kind of like halfway down your thigh almost.
You could
You're
just
like,
like
"Oh, I
flop
could
out
just
by
fly out of here
accident. Yeah.
anytime." Yeah.
There was a lot of hate for magic carpets
Ooh.
at Adventureland, which I also agree with. It's so loud. It's so creaky. That's all I can hear right now, even just thinking about the ride. Like the arms need
Oh, they
WD-40.
need some WD-40.
Yes, it's like, "Arr." But it's pretty. I like the outside of it and the camel that spits.
Yeah, it's cute. Spitting camel.
Spitting camel. Another one that people supposedly said is their favorite. I think they're just trying to be cool. Is Triceratops Spin at Dinoland USA.
Oh.
Like, how can that be? Unless you have
Now
like
they're
a
saying it's their favorite because it's gone. Spare
exactly.
me.
Like, is there some memory attached to it? Maybe. Other than that, like it was you could find that anywhere, like at Newark Days,
Yeah,
festivals, and all
Newark
that.
days.
So no to that. Okay, favorite spinner, Dumbo, and keep or change after hearing the other answers.
I think I've kept all of mine except for maybe the Clarabelle one.
Oh, okay.
All of them I'm saving.
Okay, we have a few more good ones. If you had to pitch one new ride at Disney that fits thematically in one land, but requires you to demolish an existing ride in said land, what would that be?
Oh
So you
man,
need
this
a
is hard.
land, you need a new ride that you want that's in theme with that land, but you have to sacrifice something that's already in that land to get your new ride.
Okay, let's go. Actually, know what it's going to be. Oh man, this is actually kind of hard. I had it for a second and then I was like, wait, now I don't want to get rid of any of those. Oh
Hoarding.
man, I might have to get
Does it
rid.
bring you joy, that ride?
Actually, I'm gonna smash a ride and everyone's gonna hate me for it. But you know what? Too bad. I'm going to take Robin Hood. That way, I'm going to keep my Clarabelle Cow answer earlier, and I'm going to put Robin Hood into Fantasyland right on top of Peter Pan. Oh,
Oh.
gas!
At first, I thought you were going to say Mr. Toads, but they're both gasp worthy.
Uh, Peter Pan is my least favorite Fantasyland attraction. Even Alice in Wonderland, I'd rather keep.
Wow. Alice in Wonderland. Oh, I love Alice in Wonderland.
I do
Okay, so
too.
you would do Disneyland, Fantasyland. You're going to get rid of Peter Pan's flight. Is that what it's called? Just flight.
Yes,
And replace it with a Robin Hood. And I was going to say, what is this forest called?
Merry Men.
Sherwood Forest and Merry Men. I Oh, it's hard. Yeah, I would want that to be added,
Yeah,
but that the question that was asked was you have to demolish it. So, okay. Um, there were some good answers here from other Disney fans that brilliantly skirted the issue of taking out something good. So I was
of
impressed
course
with
you're gonna be
that.
like, oh, get rid of the churro cart, whatever.
So one person said, and you know, when it's once it's outside of Disneyland, it is easier. So this is DCA. This person says, get rid of jumping jellyfish and make it an up balloon house ride to fit with Pixar Pier.
Okay,
That seems like, oh, duh. Why haven't they done that? That's pretty smart.
right.
I'd be happy
Oh,
with
but
that.
that's not Pixar Pier anymore over there.
Whoops, around the
It's too far.
corner. Um,
I guess they could
somebody,
extend it.
somebody says here to remove, this is Tomorrowland, to remove Buzz Lightyear and replace it with Wally.
Ooh, or Alien Encounter. That's where I should have gone.
I would definitely take Wally over
Yes,
Buzz,
absolutely all
right?
day. It'd be
There's
very
Toy
cute.
Story everywhere. It doesn't need any
Right.
more. It could give some space for some others.
That was like the first Pixar to infiltrate any attraction, huh? With Buzz
Yeah.
Lightyear Astro Blasters. Yep.
Yeah. The one that was pretty popular here, a lot of upvotes, is Tomorrowland, Disneyland, demolish Autopia. And then there was a whole bunch of things that can fit in it. Some people said electric cars, which we talked about several times before.
Which they're
Somebody
now actually
said,
bringing, right?
right, yeah, they are. Someone said just use the land for a whole new futuristic IP. I mean, futuristic attraction not based on IP. I like that. Something original that's still future focused. Someone says demolish Autopia and add Frozen. I guess like
Mm,
the land. That would then
no,
put
it's
it
okay.
into Fantasyland, I
Yeah.
suppose.
I mean, that
Um,
is right on the edge of Fantasyland, though. So you could just extend it a little bit.
right on the edge. Somebody
Mm.
says take away Haunted Mansion and
Get out of
replace it
here.
with Mystery Manor. Mystic Manor, isn't it called
Mystic Manor. Did
They
they
put
say Mystery
mystery.
Manor?
They put mystery. Yep.
They need to go back to Disneyland School
Right.
because A, it's never going to happen. B, no.
You got to go to Hong Kong if you want to get it. It's a unique one-time attraction, Mystic
Try to get rid of my
Manor.
Haunted Mansion. Get out of here.
Someone said Hollywood area of DCA, get rid of Monsters Inc. and
Hmm.
put a Monsters Inc. door roller coaster. I like that. Flipping the ride, same theme. There's no room for it, but
Yeah, no, that wouldn't work. And I'd rather have a dark ride than a roller coaster, honestly,
yeah, they're like classic,
personally.
especially when they're
Yeah.
outside of Fantasyland. It's rare, so it's nice to have
And
that.
there's some of those, like, I guess, after I said Peter Pan, I kind of started feeling a little bad, but like, I like some of these attractions that make you feel like you're in the scene 360. Peter Pan does that, versus like looking at a scene while you're driving by. Um, and Monsters Inc. does that really well. So does Radiator Springs, like where the scene is like kind of grand and you're like just
Yeah.
in it. You know what I
You're
mean? So I think those ones are very cool. They should just leave it. No,
no.
that one gets a thumb
Um,
down vote on Reddit for me.
and I have an idea for you so
Okay.
that we do not have to get rid of Peter Pan's flight. What if we took your idea to Magic Kingdom, replaced Winnie the Pooh
All day, every day.
with Robin
Ready to
Hood,
go.
right?
Oh my God.
Critter
We can do
Country.
Winnie the Pooh in
Yep.
Disneyland.
Right next to
Critter
Tiana's.
Country. Let's
Right there.
go. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Yep. Yep.
I love it.
There we
Yes.
go. Ooh, and the
Yes.
restaurant can be themed, like kind of have that like fantasy fair, medieval,
Oh my God, they
that
could do
whole
like
like
the eat with your
Renaissance
hands
fair
thing. Oh my
thing.
God,
Yep.
stop.
Yep. Very cool. All right. So keep it or change it. You are going to keep, and I helped
Keep and
you
change it.
build it. Oh yeah.
We
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
adjusted the space.
We're gonna
Yeah.
change the location. Um, okay. Disneyland People Mover is the better people mover. So
I
assuming
mean,
it
if it
still
was still there,
exists.
maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, I don't know. I wouldn't really say that. We had the Tron tunnel, which was really cool. And we could see the honeycomb in Space Mountain, but that's also gone, so that's not even
Oh.
part of it anymore. Um, Otherwise it kind of did the same idea, right?
Well, I had to see what the argument was here,
Yeah.
and what the person was who thinks Disneyland is the superior one is because it has more of Walt's vision of intertwining with other transportations. So at one point it goes like over Autopia and then under the monorail. And
Okay,
and in
fair.
general, there's a lot of slopes where it goes up and down, whereas
Okay.
Disney World is mostly flat. And I didn't think about any of this until I read through this. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I was gonna
okay.
say I can't really remember ours too well
Yeah.
as far as like those kind of things go. Okay, I'll agree with that.
Makes sense. I like Magic Kingdoms too because it is more of like a tour of Tomorrowland, where I guess the other
Yeah.
one, it really did go out into the woods where Autopia and Monorail
I really wish they'd bring it back.
are
Just
looking.
the alive, like breathing land part that
Yeah.
that created, and seeing it moving by when you're like walking the entrance, that made it was so better, like so
Yeah.
much better looking than it does now.
It's like you were in a scene in the Jetsons or something when you walk in. It's like
Yeah.
really cute.
Oh.
Um, all right, we have two more before we wrap up these opinions.
Okay.
So, what changes would you make to Matterhorn if you could?
Whew, this one may be hard to achieve, but I would make it a two-seater attraction.
Oh,
So
what
you
is
could
it right
sit with
now?
somebody.
Oh, you mean
Just
left and
one.
right, side by side.
Yes, left and right. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I always get this confused. So, Magic Kingdom, Space Mountain, one is a bobsled and one is a coaster car, right?
Magic Kingdom, Space Mountain is a bobsled. Disneyland is a two-seater.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
So you'd want Matterhorn Disneyland. Well, there only is one Matterhorn. You'd want that to be like the Space Mountain vehicle in Disneyland,
Yes.
side by side.
Wait, maybe not though, because you're right. As soon as you said bobsled, it's supposed to be a
Oops.
bobsled, and those are seated like that. Shoot.
Oh.
I just like sitting with people for some reason, but
You know,
okay, I'm
like
gonna take that
sitting
one back. Let's see what else
inside
can
of
we.
them. You're basically like inside of someone's
Yeah.
crotch, which was fun like as a teenager when it was like silly and laughable, but now it's just very uncomfortable and inconvenient.
Well, now you're not. You remember you're not sitting with people anymore, right?
Oh, there's a back seat back now.
Yeah, they're all single individual little holes, little seats.
Oh, I could see how that feels lonely enough that you'd want to
They're
pair
like kind
people up.
of big,
Yeah.
honestly, but it's still really hard to get in and out of for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like a weird,
Very
but it is
uncomfortable.
very similar to Space Mountain in Disney World. The seating, I think it might be very, very similar. But anyway, okay, I take that back then because it's a bobsled. And I like the idea of it being a bobsled. So let's stick with that. Um, how do you improve it? I would figure out a little more design to add to certain parts of the ride. There's a lot of dead space in that attraction.
Oh.
Like, especially I think it's the right track at Disneyland. I think it's like you see the Yeti twice kind of quickly, and then it's just like a bunch of you flying around on the track, and it's just nothing else
And you're like just
going on, you
bracing
know?
yourself for the next back roll.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're just
exactly.
gonna...
Like, right?
So the Disney fandom more or less agrees with you. So the top answers were all about filling up the dead space. They're like, there's
Oh,
plenty of
okay.
dead space to fill up. So some of them were like create more foggy areas, maybe with projections, create crystal lights in more of the tunnels so you could see it from outside at nighttime.
Ooh, that'd be
Somebody
pretty.
said add snow flurries when you're at the top. I don't know
Ooh,
if that
that'd be
would be
nice too.
like bubbles or real or digital, but that's cool either way. Someone said add cold air burst when the Yeti comes at you. That'd be fun.
That'd be
Like,
hecka cool.
right, like screaming and laughing, that
Could
type
you
of thing.
imagine when he goes rah, if he like shot like snow out at
Yeah.
you or something? Oh God, hecka scary.
Somebody said re or not, they said hold on, I'm reading this, it's a bit long. They basically are saying to make it up to code construction wise so that the mountain climbers can return. I didn't know they were
Is that
gone.
yeah?
Are
I
they?
thought they still do it on special occasions. Maybe they don't. I don't know.
Maybe. But yeah, as we get toward the bottom of these lists, they get a little sillier. This one was a really good idea. They said, why don't we put a big hole in the middle and run a skyway through it?
That's a great
Oh,
idea. Where did they come up with that?
oh, that's sad. Gone. Now,
Gosh.
there that had its own set of questions that went along with it. People weren't sure. Could you see Harold, the abominable snowman, from the skyway when you go through it?
I don't think so.
I can picture it either
I'm sure
way. It's
there's
a
a video of
Mandela
that
effect.
though.
Like I can picture both. Um, someone said retheme it to Cool Runnings, which is owned by Disney. With it says like with a Jamaican guy animatronic at the end, everything it's like on here.
No.
Let's see. And then the rest of it was
I love that movie though.
a little bit catty. Like a lot of the people were just saying, leave it as it is, just please fix it because it's painful. And then there's just a whole bunch of comments about how
That too.
painful it
Yeah.
is, how people don't ride it anymore when they get to a certain age. I would say I'm part of that. I don't risk it for Matterhorn, and then also at Hollywood Studios Rock and Roller Coaster. Both of those could ruin my day if I end up with a
I
headache
don't
or a
go on
backache or something.
Space Mountain in Disney World anymore.
Oh
And it's the
yeah,
same
that's
problem as Matterhorn. It's just
real
like not, and they don't
rickety.
have music or anything. It's just kind of like, no, I don't need it.
Nope, don't need it. There was one here that I thought was really cool, and it was probably the least possible, which was move the queue entrance to the river boat. What were those called? The motorboats
Oh yeah.
here. Move the entrance there, and it should all go underground and come back up at the Matterhorn so that it can be all like ice caverns and you're on your way to the
Ooh,
Matterhorn.
that could be
Yeah.
really cool. And
Like,
the
oh,
line gets very long, wraps around the whole
yeah.
dang thing, and it's hot.
You could be
And
under AC. Yep,
that'd be
totally.
really cool, actually. I like that.
Yeah. All right. Keep or change. You've heard some thoughts, and your original thought was to add some special effects. Maybe were there any that caught your attention that you think, oh, let's add this type of special
I
effect?
really like the snow flurries. Like the
Ooh, that's
higher you
cool.
get is the colder or something. That's really cool. I think we can leave Harold as is. He's terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
was it you who I went on with the very first time since he returned and we were just screaming the whole rest of the
I
ride?
think so. I remember when I first wrote it after the refurb, I didn't expect much to be changed. And then that whole lift hill was like, what? Like,
Yeah,
how
and
are
he's
they doing
chasing
this?
you
And it
and
looked like he was
oh,
there. Yeah. And the
the
sound effects
cuffing.
were
Oh,
surround sound.
cuffing. Yeah. Oh my God. I like the snow flurries. I like the jewels that people can see, or like the ice crystals that people can see from other places. I think that could be really pretty. And pretty while you're on the ride. They already have like one little section like that, so it would just flourish on that a little bit. Or I don't know if the projections would really do so well because the outside is so textured and it's like, I don't know if that would be the best, but like some kind of feeling, some smells, maybe some kind of like,
Ooh,
Arctic. I know there's always candles named after the Arctic, so why can't we have some scents going through
something that
there,
smells like it.
Yeah. I don't need extra heralds either, just like something going on. There's a lot of quiet, awkward dead space. So
It
yeah, I'm
seems
gonna keep it.
doable. Remember the time Big Munder? I can't speak today. Big Thunder Mountain came back on after maintenance, and all of a sudden it had new special effects. Like it or not, like they were able to just add that into one of the
Yeah.
spots
Yep.
without changing
Yep.
too much. All right. The final question, and this goes back to your birthday wish. If your birthday wish was to have one thing, it's very open-ended, just one thing to return to Disneyland,
Ooh.
what would it be? And then I'll tell you the top 6 from the fandom.
Okay. Oh my gosh, what is left that just like broke my heart? Disneyland?
Disneyland proper, classic Disneyland.
Um,
Waltz Park, your birthday
man,
wish.
there hasn't really actually been that much that is left, right? Um, I'm not gonna say Big Thunder Ranch. I'm not gonna say Splash Mountain. Um, Country Bears could be very cute. I would not be a, let me see though. What else can we do? Shoot. What else is left? We got the treehouse back. I'm missing something very obvious. I don't think a lot is left. That's crazy. I guess I'm gonna have to. Oh man, I don't really know though if I want that back. It's kind of nice being in the memory bank, you know. Um, I guess. God, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna say Country Bears.
That's a good one. I think that's a good one.
All
Um,
right.
and it landed in the top 6. Let's see if any of the others in the top 6 will make or change your answer.
Okay.
So the number 1 answer was People Mover.
Oh yeah, duh. Dang it.
We were just talking about it. Maybe that's why. Number 2, Paint the Night Parade.
Ooh.
It's cool that something that feels modern already is iconic enough that people want it back.
Right.
Yeah. So Paint the
Okay.
Night Parade. Number 3, Country Bear Jamboree.
Okay.
Number 4, the Skyway Sky Buckets.
All right. All
Also just
right.
talked about that. That's funny. Number 5, Captain EO.
Ooh. Hooter,
That can
fix
that can
it.
stay in the memory bank, in the wank
Fix
bank.
it, Hooter. Yeah, honestly, it can for me too. It can
Right.
for me too.
It's like it's time, right? It's like the 80s. It's like a
It was,
whole
and it
thing.
was super exciting it coming back and like my whole story with not being able to see 3D when I was a kid and getting to finally see it. Now I've done that. We can move on.
Yeah. Yep. And then
Personally.
the 6th most popular return to Disneyland is, it just says Starcade. So I guess that's the whole thing back in its glory with
Oh shoot.
2-story full arcades, air
That is
hockey
pretty cool.
games.
Um,
Right now it's just a corporate private booking
right.
room. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to stick with my Country Bears, and this is why.
Ooh, okay.
Country Bears is all day long. Um, and it's another reason to go all the way down there. And I'm probably going to be there more often now because of Tiana's coming soon.
Oh, in that neck of the
So,
woods over there in that
yeah. And I
corner. Yeah.
do like a nice air conditioned show that you can sing along and be silly to with your friends. I do like that. So I'm going to stick with that. However, People Mover would be freaking amazing. Dang, that is tough though. It might be that one. Shoot.
Keep or change. You gotta stick to one.
Oh. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Fine. I'm changing to People Mover.
All right. I'm right there with you. And they both hit that spot of just like a relaxing attraction.
Yeah,
Country Bears
true.
and
And
People Mover.
the fact that that thing I was talking about earlier about how it just makes it look like alive and breathing space like that needs it so bad
Oh
over
yeah.
there.
Oh,
So,
that's a good point. The ride could come back. You don't even have to get on the ride for it to add more to the park experience.
right.
It's like there as part of the decor. Ah, love it. Well, that
Love
was
it.
a game of Keep or Change, Gen Diz edition.
That was awesome. I want to know what all of our listeners thought about that as well.
Yes. What were you screaming on the sidelines about these opinions?
Yes, feel free to write in if you felt the same in some crazy way or some way different as well. I'd like to hear about it. I wanted to take a quick second though, because I did talk about my birthday, but I wanted to give a shout out to Christina, my best friend I call her Christy a lot on the show. She goes by Christina now. Shout out to her because it is also her birthday
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
today when this episode airs. And we are going to Tiki Tom's, which we
Oh.
had on the show not too long ago. So we're going to be there tonight. If any of you listening live in Walnut Creek area and want to pop by, we're going to be there around 8 o'clock tonight. Super random. Come say hi. Come have fun. Have a drink with us and celebrate our birthdays.
Who doesn't
Happy
love
birthday,
a
Christina.
hump day happy hour at a tiki bar
Right?
with Jen Diz? But
That's
yeah, happy
right.
birthday, Christina. Happy birthday, Jen, and anyone else out there who happens to have a June 12th birthday.
Yes, thank you.
Today was a fun-filled episode. We had a look back at the props that were on display at the Great Movie Ride with some fun lies along the way. And then we also had a new game that we tried today, which was Keep or Change, where we heard Disney opinions both from Jen Diz and from the fandom and had to
I like
choose
this
which
one.
one is the ultimate answer.
We'll have to play that one again sometime soon.
Yeah, that was good.
Well, thank you all for listening, and we hope you enjoyed episode 193 of the Disney Holics Show.
Follow us on social media at the Disney Holics.
And if you'd like to get in touch with us, send us a DM on Instagram or contact us at thedisneyholics.com.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.